Hey real estate agents, welcome to Making a Smarter Agent, your program to find out all the tips and trends as told by the great ones in real estate. What's a great one? Someone that's able to make money and still keep their head on straight. Let's face it, this is a tough business. We interview tough people who seem to make it look easy. Delighted to have you with us today. Do me a favor, give us the 10,000-yard view. Who are you? When did you get started? And how long have you been in real estate?
Okay, Sabrina Teplin. I grew up on Long Island, but I moved around a lot. My husband worked for Marriott Corporation, and they tended to move people around a lot in the 80s and 90s. So I moved around a lot. I started in real estate in 2003. My original profession was marketing. I landed on Long Island again, where family is. I said, gee, I think I could do this. I think I could be a realtor. I did enough of moving. I can be empathetic to people who need to move. And so I went for my license, and I've been doing it ever since 2003.
2003, 17 years in the business.
Yeah.
And has that always been with Douglas Elliman?
I started out with Coldwell Banker because a friend of a friend suggested I talk with her just because I was toying with the idea. And but I was only with them a couple of years. I discovered Douglas Elliman when it was Prudential Douglas Elliman on Long Island, and I've been with them since 2008. So I was with 5 years with Coldwell.
So you really have been, you're kind of the veteran within. You've seen a lot of changes within Elliman. You saw Florida emerge. I mean, Florida wasn't even a thought back when.
Exactly.
You're saying that knowing that I'm a Florida agent, so I'm curious to see this.
They encouraged us to be dual agents, but I that's why I know you, because I'm better off knowing New York and handing off the baton and referring to people in Florida, and it's a great tool to have people around the nation now. It really is.
Agreed. It's a great tool to have everyone around the nation, and it's a great tool to be able to dip into the resources and certainly make people smarter and reach out to them. Let me ask you this. This podcast is for other successful and growing agents. Mm-hmm. All of them are curious to hear about how to make a living, but it always starts with how to get the phone to ring. Mm. Let's walk through some of the things that you might be doing for your marketing, whether it's emails or snail mail or social media, bought advertising. Are you doing any of that? Or
I do that. I do it for top of the mind mentality. Again, my background is marketing and art direction, so I think in those terms all the time. It's important to have people be constantly aware what you do. You have to touch people all the time and let them know that you're still there for them, even after a sale. So I get a lot of my business because of that contact with other people that I've done business with, or even future people that just need my advice. I'm constantly reaching out, either with a note card in the mail, a phone call, the old-fashioned way, using the phone as a phone, as opposed to a flashlight. And so, those things are important, just basic stuff. I think in any successful business, sales or otherwise, if you don't reach out to people and to say hi, you're not going to be successful at anything you do. People need to know that you are there and that you care.
Sure. So do you have a medium of choice? Do you buy ads? I mean,
I don't really buy ads. I used to in the beginning because that seemed to be the way to go. But I think what's very important now is I do video. I try to go on Facebook Live. I try to get people to understand what I've got for sale in the more technical sense. A big part of what I do to sell a property really is a good analysis so that we price it right from the very beginning, because that's the key of marketing anyway. As far as what I do technologically, I'm getting very involved with Instagram. I think it's going to be a game changer for me. I think Instagram is smart when it comes to hashtags and getting exposure and people understanding what you've got. It's quite an interesting medium. And yeah, I think that there's a lot to be said, because you have to look at who's your demographic, who are you selling to, who's buying what you've got. And so being on the platform that they are in is half the battle. Mail, absolutely. I still get business from my mailers, but those mailers are to an area, letting people know what I've accomplished, or to my own base, my people that know me, that say, oh, Sabrina's continually being successful. Sabrina's having success. I should let people know that she's a successful agent if they think they need someone. So it's really that, listen, when I started in the business, it was throw spaghetti at the wall, whatever sticks, whatever works for the moment. And it's still that way. You try a lot of different things and you don't abandon it. You just don't abandon it because you have to just keep going at it, keep plugging away, because top of the mind is where it's at.
Sure. Top of the mind is where it's at. Let's talk about the categories of people that are, you said your people, my people, I want my people, but your peeps. So let's talk about just when you make a post or when you try to stay in touch with people, let's talk about categories of folks, other real estate agents, good or bad from a marketing standpoint.
Other real estate agents, they're my customers just as much as someone ringing the phone asking to see a house. I treat them with the utmost respect, and I reach out to them for guidance and ideas as well across the board within my company of Douglas Elliman, or for other successful agents that I have a rapport with. Doing this for 16, 17 years, you build a rapport with quite a number of people, and you hope to do deals with them. They're my customers too. I have to give them the utmost respect.
Sure. With regard to, okay, have you narrowed it down to a particular category? Again, I'm trying to get people to learn, which is why I'm struggling with this question here. Sure. Have you narrowed down a particular category of someone that's a superior lead source? For example, for me, it's agents out of state. It's obviously past customers. You surprised me with something. I mean, is there any type of business or personal category that you might want to share with everyone that they could benefit from?
Well, for me personally, my 8+ clients, my 8+ referrers, I actually, they're people that I know and love, that I have friendships with. And I don't really think there's any new surprise there, but I think that they appreciate the fact that I call them my Medici. They are my Medici families. They are my constant supply of wealth. And I don't do this for, I enjoy it, but I do this as a living, and they understand that I do this for my betterment as a business. If I were to think out of the box about, it's interesting, but I think on Facebook, I think it just has a broad stroke of exposure that someone from my high school that I haven't even spoken to, or not on my mailing list or in my wheelhouse, they'll reach out. There's just so many different places that people come from. It's hard to say, but for the most part, it's people that are aware of my professionalism and my consistency of working. They see that I'm working, because there's a lot of part-time agents that don't do what full-time agents do. They just don't. I think that's made an impression on those people. I can't think of anything out of the box, though. Is that interesting? I just can't.
Well, life is long, and we could certainly do this for episode 2 with you.
I'll think about it a little bit more.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But, as far as the delivery of the message, how are you most connected to people? We started talking about the posts, the mailings. Is there any particular vehicle that you recommend that? And again, there's no wrong answer here, by the way. So I'm not trying to get
the old-fashioned phone call and stopping by and seeing how you're doing is always been the most effective, I think.
Wait a minute. You could actually speak through this thing?
Yeah, I think besides
all I do is text. My thumbs have been so tired.
Besides texting, texting, you know what I found texting was excellent for? When I do a client appreciation party and I send out a reminder text, people see it. They see it. And so if it's something for it, I think texting is great. If it's a conversation that has to then expand to a phone conversation, yeah. But I think texting is probably it's safer too. Some people can be anonymous. Do we lose a connection? I think we might have. Some people like to be anonymous with texting if I'm cultivating a relationship with someone for sale or something other than that. But I think that text is in the moment, where connecting with people on a prolonged basis and over the course of time, I think just still face to face and ear to ear is a good way to go.
Okay, so let me throw out some technologies and some ways that I work, and I believe you may have, but you could say yay, nay, or give it a grade. Okay.
Sure.
BombBomb.
Oh, hey, I love BombBomb. I'm on BombBomb.
So BombBomb is the video sharing service that you could send a text message. Do you subscribe to BombBomb?
They send you a reminder and they let you know, even if you can't get that video out, something goes out. They send out a constant. They build beautiful templates. They're great, and they're really good for in the moment, just reaching out to somebody like this, face to face. And that's you get points for that. You definitely get points for that. Absolutely. It's I can't listen in COVID-19 in the coronavirus world. A video is a lot safer than knocking on someone's door. I get it. And that's what I kind of ramped up a little bit too, this particular last couple of months.
Okay. Ongoing and regular email blasts, like Constant Contact, or no, you don't do that.
I think that falls on deaf ears. I think that it's almost like anything else, even stuff that I've subscribed to, things that I'm passionate about outside of real estate. Maybe I'll look at it later, or throw away. I don't know if they get seen as much as other things.
Okay. Blast texting. You ever text multiple people at a time?
No, it's always individual.
Okay. What about iBuying services such as, I forgot the names of these things. Basically, these services where they advertise, spend a lot of money on advertising. They get homeowners to send in a application that they want to sell their homes, and they send that listing out to 3 different brokers. Do you have that on Long Island?
There's something I'm sure that exists like that, but I have no value in that, zero value in that. And because I'd rather work with a warm start rather than a cold start. Leads are one thing, but relationships are entirely different. I'd rather have someone be my raving fan and suggest me as opposed to someone just fishing. And it's like herding cats. I don't think for me, I feel like it's a time suck. It just it just fractures your time, where you can be much more effective marketing the properties that you have and cultivating the people that you know.
Sure. Are you more of a buyer's agent or a listing agent?
I'd say I'm about 60-40.
60 what?
60 listing, 40 buyer. Although it seems to be going a little heavier in buyer these days because of just the nature of the market.
Yeah, well, we'll get to COVID-19 and how that's affected you and your business as well. But 60-40, okay. So would you consider yourself a farmer? Are you farming a particular area?
Fits in starts. I think that's probably where I am least effective in my efforts. I think there's value in that. My farming is to my sphere, not to a particular area. I think Long Island has more realtors per capita than, I don't know, any other place.
Oh my God! Between Fort Lauderdale and Palm Beach County, there's 26,000 of us.
Yeah, so I think that farming, you're probably mailing to 3 or 4 agents in the process.
Maybe, but don't you think most of them suck? I mean, but there's no other word for it. They're just, sales, and I've always said it's the easiest business to get into and the hardest one to succeed at.
Yes, and I contend we're all salespeople from the moment we have a child or the moment we have to convince our parents we want to do something. We're all salespeople, right? As much as we want to admit it or not. So the art of negotiation is probably the biggest point that we all have, is that doesn't get us to suck. If we are good negotiators, we don't suck, right? So those agents that suck, well, you know what? Yeah, I have to share the playing field with every kind of player. So I persevere. Persevere.
Okay, let's talk lifestyle. Do you meditate?
Not as much as I should.
Okay. Are you coaching?
Yes. I've been coached for 5 years. A business coach, yes.
Is that a secret who your coach is, or are you going to tell us?
Fabulous. Her name is Julie Gardner. She's with Buffini and Company. They're out in California. And she's stuck with me through thick and thin. She's got some fabulous people in her group, and we call ourselves Gems, or she's called us Gems. And we are a great, great community. We really share. I get a lot of referrals in that regard too, from agents from other companies, because we are like-mind thinkers and we don't suck.
So how often do you meet her, and is it a private meeting?
It is a private minimal twice a month. But I'll reach out to her with an email. Maybe we'll catch up on the phone if necessary, to cover and to figure out a problem or to spearhead an idea. I've had dinner with her out in California. I went to a wedding last September, and I drove up to the building and had lunch with her. We have a good friendship and a good working relationship. So yeah, she's awesome.
Sure. So
I'm here.
Okay, good.
I'm here.
So yeah. What's the cost of a coach?
Well, I have a couple of parts and pieces to what I do, because I do a mailer with Buffini and Company, and I also have a CRM with Buffini and Company, which is excellent. But it is, you can call it probably a $5,000 a year total, somewhere in there, about $5,000 a year.
Yeah, look, I don't balk at any of it. If you're going to credit it with your,
well, you got to look at buying. You have to invest in yourself. If you don't invest in yourself, who's going to invest in you besides you, right? And you have to think about putting your money back into your business. It's very important. It's not just marketing the home; it's marketing yourself and making yourself a better person. I try to. I'm part of a Buffini book club, which is business books. I've got a scat of them back there. It's not just for pleasure reading. Book clubs are great, and I have one that's personal, but I have a business book club with Buffini that's separate unto itself. There are separate things that we do that's organically driven, and it just kind of bubbles up to the surface, and we do it that way. That's how I've actually got to meet you, Edmund. We met a couple of years ago at a mastermind, which was a Douglas Elliman event, but I met you because of an agent in Florida who I met at a mastermind Buffini, who isn't even Douglas Elliman, suggested I chime in, and we've had a nice relationship ever since. And that was just from a Buffini event. So it's a good company. They really stand by what they do.
That's great to hear. Anything else, like with Anthony Robbins, any Tom Ferry?
No, I mean, I've gone to Tom Ferry events, like in Brooklyn, when he's had some symposiums. I read a lot of what some of these guys write. I listen to their podcasts, so I diversify in that regard. But I've kept my eggs and my dollars in one place for 5 years, and it's done well. I mean, my first year I tripled my business. My first year of coaching, I tripled my business.
Fantastic! I love to hear that. So you got the books on the wall there. You want to give our viewers and audience here some ideas of what you're reading or what you like?
Chris Voss, who's Never Split the Difference. He's excellent. I also watched him on Master Class, which is that, you can learn how to cook or direct a film with Spike Lee or whatever you want to do. And Chris Voss is an excellent negotiator, and he wrote the book Never Split the Difference. He's great. Atomic Habits was an excellent book too. The name of the author escapes me. And The 12-Week Year is another good one. These are all about accelerating and being effective with your time, which I think is everybody's biggest issue, time management. So those really helped me a lot. Atomic Habits and The 12-Week Year. And then, of course, Negotiation. Chris Voss is amazing.
Sure. While we're at it, you do come to my weekly think tank, which meets 9 a.m. Wednesday mornings Eastern Standard Time.
Excellent, and it's a great kickstart to the day.
Talk to me just about that, because obviously the viewership is real estate agents, and I'd love to get more in. Just an honest review, like what have you liked, what have you not liked, what's going on?
I like the fact that even though it's a broad group of people and a lot of people who are signed up, it's not an unpalatable forum. Like you do have a good control over and make sure everybody gets a say or a thought in there. You definitely keep me on a leash. I talk too much sometimes. But I think that it's a really good, as with anything, to educate yourself with other people's thoughts. You just can't work in a bubble. You have to exchange ideas, and it's a great outlet for that. It's fabulous, and the subjects and the discussions have been all very, very good.
Yeah, well, we certainly have loved having you, and I think it's been mutually rewarding to have you there. So thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure
as well. Drilling it down a little bit, where on Long Island are you? Again, for us Floridians, it's a bit of a stretch because I went to Adelphi, as I think you know.
Oh, I didn't know that. You went to Adelphi. Okay.
Adelphi. Yeah, that's. I got the T-shirt that said 5 or 6 years of the best years, best years of your life. But and for those that don't know, Adelphi University is in Garden City, Long Island. What is your stomping ground? I mean, just tell everyone again so that we know where to make a referral.
Sure. I'm in the North Shore of Long Island, and I span. I'm based in Huntington Township, the area of Nassau County, and out further into Suffolk County. So the North Shore, the north end of Long Island. I grew up in Nassau County. I've lived in Suffolk County for 20 years. So Huntington Township would be my base, my epicenter. But I have a good familiarity with a big part of Long Island. I've moved around a lot. I've been in different places, so I have an understanding of what it's like to be, making the move from, smaller digs to bigger digs, a yard, and what those neighborhoods offer for people who are looking for specific things. Sure. But
okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now let's talk about the C word, which is, of course, COVID-19. You filthy mind, horrible mind.
I was thinking of the cancer.
Cancer. Oh, yeah. Okay. That was quick. I like that. But, COVID-19 has really had its effect, both good and bad, depending upon where your territory is.
Right.
Interest rates have been forced to an all-time low. In fact, it's in recorded history, at least a week ago, it was at its absolute lowest. Yeah. New York City has become, for many, unlivable, both politically. The one safe thing that you could say is throw a cow at Mayor Bill de Blasio, because I've not met one person, at least not one person that would buy a house from me that's like the guy.
I don't get it, whether they voted for him or not. They just he's just...
You could mock this son of a bitch and nobody will care, okay?
Nobody cares. It's amazing. Nobody cares.
So that's the only safe political talk that you could have these days. So people have been exiting in one sense. And again, I'm a New Yorker. I think it'll be a phoenix rising from the ashes at some point. But in the meantime, a lot of people are heading to Huntington, right?
They are. We have a lot of people that are moving east. And real estate always seems to move east. Hopefully they don't stop and go all the way over to Europe, which we can't fly there right now. But, real estate is moving east. I think a lot of people are either absolutely in love with where they live in Manhattan and just are doing, or at least in the beginning, we're just saying, I'll rent for a little while and I'll go back to my place. Well, I think what they had an opportunity to do was taste and understand what Long Island has to offer, and they're now buying. So it was a little bit of a delayed reaction. And some of us were caught off guard with that. I mean, I didn't expect to see such a mass exodus as what it was. And I don't believe that New York will ever not come back. It's New York. New York is a very resilient and necessary city. It's just not. Things might change commercially, but I don't think residentially. That said, Hi.
Emotional thought in there.
That said, I think that, the first move was New Yorkers, quote unquote, Manhattanites, were thinking going the Hamptons. They only thought that Long Island was the Hamptons, and what the New Yorkers would call Huntington area maybe flyover, because you just kept going on the Long Expressway or helicopter or whatever. You just kept going until you hit the Hamptons, and that was what they consider Long Island. But the education and understanding of what Huntington being 1 hour away by Long Island Railroad, a little longer with a car, to Manhattan is a lot closer than the Hamptons. And we've got beaches, we've got dining, we've got nightlife, we've got everything here that's just wonderful and terrific, beautiful homes from the gambit. We've got $22 million or better homes here, as well as $300,000 homes. So there's something for everyone here. And I think once people got an understanding of what flyover is, Huntington is definitely drawing a lot of people.
Wow. And I think it's going to be interesting to see. You have a problem with the lack of product, right?
Yeah, we do. Depending. I mean, things that are in the $500, $600, $700, maybe $1,000 range are moving fast. And so there's people are putting on, but they're going. $1.5 million, $1.5 million, selling well, really are. Once you get into a higher bracket, it's a slower move, as it always has been. But the time will tell. The more expensive properties, it might be moving a little faster.
That's great. Well, listen, This has been a blast. Didn't that go fast?
It did go fast. How long was that?
Close to 30 minutes. I kept on my end of the bargain. I showed up, right? This is
terrific. With a button down.
I'm going to have your information in the chat. As everyone knows, this is on Facebook Live right now. It'll be archived on Facebook. We're going to be streaming on the podcast. It'll air next Tuesday, anywhere that you listen to your podcast. That's going to be Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, anywhere. Just search for Making a Smarter Agent. And certainly if you want to get in touch with a great agent, I would call without reservation Sabrina Teplin. She's just sensational. Her contact information is going to be below. And if you have further questions about this, my think tank, any of the social media channels, please feel free to reach out. Sabrina, I'm going to see you Wednesday morning.
You will.
Okay. We could do the happy dance now. Thank you so much for participating today. And we'll see everybody next time for another great installment of Making a Smarter Agent. Making a Smarter Agent would like to thank its two sponsors. The first is Organized New York Palm Beach, which you could see on Instagram at the handle Organized Palm Beach. Let's face it, organization stinks. It's tough. Organized New York Palm Beach is the premier organizing company that operates between New York and Palm Beach County, Florida. Go check them out on Instagram at Organized Palm Beach. Also, Rain Nation. That's the Real Estate Information Group Network. Think of it as group therapy for realtors. And you know what? We need it. It's part think tank. It's part coaching. It's all opportunity. Rain Nation, that's REIGNATION. You can find it on Facebook.